Cool.
Am I
Right
allowed?
on.
Am I
Here
allowed
we
to?
are.
Am I allowed to cuss in this, or is this like a
Yeah,
family?
you can cuss.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know if I
Yeah.
can't cuss, I probably will talk a lot less.
Shit. I mean, I should have done some stretches. This is going to be a good episode.
Right.
Hell yeah.
I'm
This is
gonna
one.
try not to cough too much too. I'm still like fighting whatever flu thing that I've
You
had.
just flew.
Man, I had fever for 5 days.
Oh,
5 days, and so I'm still feeling really fatigued. Like I fell asleep earlier. Like I went for a run. It was like, I come back and I was like, I just gotta lay down. And so I'm just super tired feeling. So
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
No,
gonna do the best I can. I'm gonna try not to cough and hack all over you, but
every time I get that, it's like a man being sick. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to make it.
yeah, like I think I'm gonna die.
I think I'm going to
I'm
die.
like the biggest baby when I get sick.
I remember having the flu one time, and it was like the vomiting flu, you know.
Mm.
I remember, like, I probably shouldn't talk about this on the Pottery Podcast.
We're putting this on the internet
Yeah,
forever.
right. This is going on YouTube. Um, you ever like vomit and there's nothing left in your stomach,
Yeah,
but you're like, "Bleh." You're like, dude, there's, and you're telling your brain, there's nothing in there.
yeah.
Like,
It's like just let it go.
let it go, man.
Just let me die in peace.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
die in peace.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. Let's talk some pottery here. So Sam Chumley, one of my good buddies here in ceramics, drinking from a Sam Chumley mug. It says "Impending Doom" on it. I love this thing.
That's
It's
one
on
of
my
the
wall.
new runs. I didn't make very many of those. I probably only made like 8 or 10 of those.
Snagged it.
So, yeah, a bunch of them actually went to New York. They went up to what's that, Saratoga?
Oh, Saratoga.
Hmm.
Yep. I
Yeah,
just bought.
I sent stuff to their Clay Fest this year. So,
Nice. I just bought some bowls yesterday from Josh Smith. You know Josh? Josh.
I don't know.
He's one of the best throwers I ever met. Like I have a jar up there that's his, and I bought it because like you can spin the jar, right? Spin the jar and then grab the knob of the lid, and the jar will spin around the lid.
That's wild.
You know, it's just so perfect.
So nice, yeah.
He posted some bowls yesterday. 4 bowls for like $100. I was like, Jesus, I'll take those.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It must have been seconds or something. But
Hey.
yeah, he lives up in Saratoga also. So Sam, how long have you been playing with clay?
Oh, man.
Is that a high school thing or college?
No, I was a late bloomer to clay. I started clay in, I think, 2012,
Oh wow.
2013, something like that. I was in undergrad, and I come from a 2D background. I had to take, I was working my way through my BFA. I was like a non-traditional student at like a really small school in Indiana, in southern Indiana. And I took, let's see here. I had taken all of the drawing and printmaking classes that they would let me take. Like I had gone, I got one degree. I went back. I was working on my BFA,
Yep.
and at that university, you had at like a certain point, you had to declare a concentration, and
Yep.
so I had taken too many. Well, I'd taken as many printmaking and drawing courses that they would let me take before I had to finish my like intro requirements. And there was
Mhm.
like there was like an intro to clay class that I had not taken yet. And I couldn't take anything else. They were like, you got to take this before you take any other high level drawing classes. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I took it. I didn't really want to take it, but I didn't have a choice. And I took ceramics and like I fell in love with it
Yeah.
and kind of got enamored. And then like a semester or two later, it was time to declare my major, and I was like really stoked on clay at that time. So I was like,
Yep.
I'm gonna do clay, and everybody's like, "What are you doing? Like, you've been drawing for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you want to do clay, and like you're not really that great at it." I was like, "That's what I wanted to do," and so yeah, so I declared ceramics as my concentration, and it took me another couple of years, 2 or 3, probably 3 or 4 years, maybe even to finish my BFA. I
And
was
what
a
school?
perpetual undergrad student. I was there for a long time. I finished that in 2017, and then in 2017 I went to grad school at Ball State,
Ball
and
State. Yep.
yep, and studied with Ted there, and was, you know, yeah, so that was
Ball
my
State's got a really good ceramics program, don't they?
They do, but the grad program's done. Like the university squashed the grad program, so it's done. Yeah.
I think Matt Metz went to Ball State, didn't
He went to Ball State as an undergrad in the 80s,
he? Yeah,
like early 80s, because I found some pots whenever I was like cleaning stuff out of these random
really.
rooms, and it said like M. Metz or something like that. And I was
Nice.
like, Matt Metz? I was like, what? And
Nice.
it turns out, yeah, like he went there. It was like these pots were signed like 84. It was like M. Metz 84 or something like that. It was really kind of bizarre.
I hope you still have them.
I think Ted still has them. I think he just kind of hung on. I mean, they were like really bad, like porcelain with like cobalt wash on them and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
The way your art just develops.
Right.
It's funny you were saying you came from a 2D background. That seems to happen more often. Like somebody else who's coming on the show here in a couple of weeks, Justin Reese, Justin Pock Reese.
Justin Reese. That name sounds really
He
familiar.
was at Pentaculum with me.
Oh,
Tall.
okay. Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
think he's Korean.
Okay.
Makes giant
Yeah.
carved
Yeah.
things. He's a painter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I just was always drawing whenever I was a kid. That's just like I naturally kind of gravitated to drawing.
Yep.
You know, I worked in the tattoo studio. You know, I did that gig for, you know, many years.
Oh, cool.
So for me, it was like drawing was just kind of like second nature. And so now I just do a lot of drawing with my clay work. I do a lot of underglaze painting. I do a lot of printmaking and stuff like that with my work. So it's like, you know, I think that's like I think I focused just on clay for a really long time, just because like I was trying to beat that learning curve. Like you go into it not knowing anything, and so there's so much in clay to learn and to figure out. I think I just kind of hyper focused on that for a while, and I didn't really. It's like I had these parallels. I had a developed skill set in 2D, and I had a neophyte skill set that I was developing in clay, and it kind of took me a little while before I started really like to merge those things together. Yeah, and there are periods throughout my making with clay where those things kind of come together, separate, come together, separate.
Yeah.
It's hard because like with 2D and clay, you got two processes. Like if I'm doing screen printing, like screen printing is like a whole thing on top of clay being its whole thing. And so I got to have like 2 studio practices to do that. And it takes a lot of time and it's really slow. And, you know, it's like, I don't know, sometimes it's annoying. And then sometimes I just like to sit and paint though. Like I'll just sit and paint pots and that's really fun. And then every once in a while I'll just be like, you know, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I don't want to think about that. I just want to make some pots and not think about it too much.
Did you watch the episode with Mark Errol?
Yeah, I listened to probably 35 minutes of it last night while I was riding my bike on my trainer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was really good. I love Mark. That dude's awesome.
He is very cool.
He's such a cool dude.
He said something about Lindsay Rogers, and I said, "Oh, I got one of Lindsay's plates right there." And he goes, "Sam Chumley pig." I was like, "Oh yeah, I got one."
I know. I need to send Mark some pots, but it's like I just haven't been making that much stuff. You know, it's like I feel bad.
Me too.
But it's like I'm not cranking work out. You know. Also, like my work's not selling either. Like I don't know how you're doing with sales, but I'm not moving very many pots.
You know, I said that to Mark yesterday. You know, people say, "Hey, where do you sell your work?" I go, "You know, I don't really know."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky to be able to just kind of make whatever I want. It doesn't much matter because I have another job.
Yeah, same.
But do I want to sell a ton of pots? Yeah, of course I do. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy. You know, like I send them to some galleries, like, and there's a couple of galleries that I love and I respect, but you know, so I got one bowl, which is over here. So I got a big bowl, right? So this bowl is probably, I don't know, 17 inches wide.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fun, good serving dish. I'd probably sell it for $2.50 or something. it's going to cost me $50 to ship it,
Yep.
and then the gallery takes half.
Exactly.
So even if I sell for $300, I'm making 100.
Right. I know. I know, man. That's like the constant thing I grapple with, and it's like I don't want to be the person that tries to sell their pots for a ridiculous amount of money, but because then you're not going to sell it anyways because nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not like a big name where somebody's going to pay $150 for a mug. You know what I mean? Like nobody's doing that, but like that's what I gotta sell it for if I want to make any money.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And I was just thinking about that with this mug, right? I mean, to me, a guy who knows ceramics, that's easily an $80 mug.
Right. Right.
Easily.
Right.
So if you want 80 out of it, you got to sell for 160.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I'll sell them for $70-$80, and they'll sit there for 2 years. It's like that's the thing. It's like I think I've just kind of tailored down my making so much. It's like, all right, cool. I'll make a little spurt here and there, and like that work kind of lays around for a while, and then I'll make some more whenever that's gone, I guess.
It's interesting too. Like, so you say like you get work that sits there.
Yeah.
And then if it sits there for 2 years, your work can completely change by
it's like it's almost obsolete at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's cool. I guess it's nice to have a record of what I was doing a couple of years ago. Sure. Like I've got pots here that are a couple of years old at this point.
Yeah.
And it's cool to like look back and see. It's like, oh, I remember thinking about that.
Yeah.
But also, it's like I could just throw this in the dumpster.
Dude,
That's not gonna bother me.
I have a shelf unit right there, and it's some really good storage space. And when you have a studio, storage space is key. And it was just full of pots that were like glaze tests, or they didn't sell, or there were seconds, and I just pulled up my recycling bin and emptied the entire shelf. And
yeah, I mean, I feel bad doing that, but also it's like I don't need it sitting here either.
My wife is like, you need to consult me before you do that. Sorry.
It's like, no, because then these would all just move into the house.
Yeah, I can't fit that many more. I just bought 4 bowls from Josh.
Exactly.
Speaking of work changing and kind of going up and down, right? I put a post up the other day about like I'm in this pendulum of where my work is swinging back towards glazed stuff.
Yeah, I heard you and Mark kind of talking a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it's like, I put up a post. Should I do more terraces? Like I got this fun yellow I'm messing with right now. I really like. I think it almost matches your shirt. I love it, but I'm not really a glazed guy.
Yeah.
So I started doing yesterday. You'll check this out. Do you remember Matt Scheinman?
Yeah. He's making like really badass guitars now.
Dude, he makes badass guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why he doesn't make pots. Actually, Chris Long told me he heard that he sold his wheel. But, his pots were badass. So I was looking at his pots yesterday, and I had this blue jar sitting around. And I'm like, I got to do something with this jar. So I Matt Scheinman'd it.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So I'm going to put up a post saying, ode to Matt Scheinman.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Isn't that fun? But but now my as a creator brain is like, oh wait, I can go here with that.
Yeah.
I'm already decorating this piece I'm making right now in my head.
Yep. It's like it gets out of control really quick. I gotta like reel that in. I gotta reel myself in a lot.
I know, but do you though? Do you have to reel yourself in? You just
I feel like I do because I feel like I've got such little studio time.
Yeah.
That it's like I'll never get anywhere if I just keep bouncing around. And it's not like I'm really getting anywhere anyways. It's not like I've got some grandiose vision of like what I'm doing with my
So might as well bounce around then.
I guess that's true. Maybe I should lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I do that though. I kind of I get like, kind of monkey brains on, I'll try a bunch of different stuff. I kind of did that right after I moved down here from grad school. I kind of went through this phase of, I had energy to do creative work, but I didn't want to be making pots because I was just burnt out on that. And so I was just trying I did like little linoleum cuts for a while and kind of played around with that. I did like little collage things. I was doing like little paintings. It was like, I was just kind of bouncing around to a bunch of different random little like crafty ideas and that sort of thing. So
very cool. Well, you're lucky to be in the environment to where you can do all sorts of shit.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Paramount's great.
Yeah. Well, and it's like it's a double-edged sword. I'm around people that are being creative all the time. That's really great because it's like, oh my god, like
Yeah,
I want to try that. I want to try that. And the other time, it's like, man, I wish I had the time and the energy to be in here doing what these people are doing.
dude.
Um,
So I'm a golf pro, and so
right.
I always tell people, I go, you know what the worst part of my job is? And they go, what's that? I say, going, have fun,
Yep.
like, enjoy the course. It's a beautiful day. I'll be in here.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, but that's just the way it is.
It is what it is, I guess. Could always be worse,
It could be worse. Yeah. Extremely thankful to have a good job. I'm excited for that, but there's some days where I'm just like, man, I just
Yeah.
want to be in my studio making some work.
I was in a meeting one time back in the day, and I heard a guy talking about gratitude, and he says, sometimes I look down at my feet and I think I really need new shoes, rather than thinking I'm really lucky to have shoes. you know,
Yeah, that's true. It's all about perspective, I
Dude,
guess.
it's so hard to live. Like people that can stay in that constant attitude of gratitude blow my mind.
Yeah, yeah. I have a hard time with that.
I grew up on Long Island. There is no gratitude.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Yeah. True, man. I feel like I feel like I'm bad about that. It's like I feel like I've let the world sort of make me this like kind of bitter,
It's called getting older.
hateful person, and it's like, man, I hate being an old curmudgeon dude, but I think that's just fate. I don't know if I can fight it, man.
I don't
Like
think you can.
I think it's what I'm destined to be.
Yes, don't
Like some
fight it.
days it's just so like have a hard time just having like a positive attitude about things.
Well, I'll tell you honestly, nowadays it's pretty easy to look around and go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw a meme. I
There's a
saw a
lot of
meme.
factors that feed into that. Yeah,
Uh, yeah. That's a whole nother podcast.
yeah. That's a whole other podcast.
I
Well,
saw a meme the other day. It said, "When you get older, you're not getting cranky. You're getting more truthful."
and I think that's it. I think I'm not as ignorant as I used to be. I think I was just young and dumb,
Yeah. Hmm.
and now I'm not smart, but not ignorant either.
You know what you want and you don't want, right?
Exactly. And I know what's dissatisfying to witness in my life. And I get to witness a lot of it. And it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, that's what a great line. It's like, okay, now listen. You can walk up to somebody and go, listen, I'm going to be very dissatisfied with what I'm about to watch you do.
Mhm.
That's too funny.
Yep, yep.
Don't dissatisfy me.
Yeah,
You know what I tell my wife about being over 50? I said, the best part about being over 50 is I don't do anything I don't want to do anymore.
yeah.
People say, you want to go do this? Nope.
Nope.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I get, like, I'm kind of a, antisocialite. I don't like going and hanging out. I don't like going out. I don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather go spend my time out in the woods.
No, that's why you got a bike. Speaking of which,
I love riding my bike. I would rather ride my bike than literally do anything.
anything. Yeah, that's
If
great.
they were like, hey, you got to get up tomorrow and choose whether you get to eat or you get to ride your bike. I'll ride my bike. And
Really?
then I'll worry about food the next day.
Yeah.
Or like,
That's
you know,
really cool, though.
yeah.
But so it's really good to be able to even have something like that you know you have in your life, or at least you know you have one thing that's going to make you happy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. And like, I that's like a big important thing is like, that's been a big part of like shifting my studio focus to like less studio time in
Mhm.
favor of a lot of exercising. I got like
Yep.
pretty unhealthy during like grad school. I was just like sitting in my studio like all day every day, not getting
Yeah.
exercise, not eating well, that sort of thing. And it's like,
Drink some Red Bull.
well, I didn't do that. I mean, I drink too much coffee. I do drink too much coffee, but just eating bad and not moving, and so like I refuse to give that up. And it's like, cool, like I'll ride for like maybe an hour less time tonight and have some studio time.
Oh,
I
right.
don't need to be in my studio for like 5 hours a night every single night. Like, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I kind of traded that in for.
How far do you freaking ride? Do you ride like 30, 40, 50 miles at a time? Like,
Um, a good weeknight ride would be 20, 25 miles for like a quick evening ride. If
And
I'm
you know,
doing like a good ride, I'm like, I'd love to get 40 miles in an evening. After work. Now that's not if I spend all day on my bike, I if I can ride my bike 50, 60 miles,
wow.
that's in the summertime. I'll ride. I didn't do this summer, but like last summer, I kind of maxed out. I was riding about 100 miles a day on like my big weekend rides. Like Saturday, like my one day off, I had like all day to just be on my bike.
Yep.
I got, I was doing like 80 to 100 mile rides, but that's like in the mountains. It's
Yeah,
not
not
like,
fat.
yeah, it's not flat. That's like, riding 80 miles is all day long.
Yeah.
It's not like being in, flat country where you can go ride 80 miles in like a few hours or something.
I got a buddy that runs or used to do triathlons that run, bike, swim,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he did the Boston Marathon. He was
Nice.
he was big time. So I called him 10, 12 years ago one time. Said, "Hey man, I'm thinking about running again. Like, what kind of shoes should I get?" And he said, "Well, you got to go get your feet fit because everyone hits the ground differently,
Yeah.
right?" So
Right.
I go, "Well, what kind of shoes do you have?" And he says, "Well, the shoes I would use and the shoes you would use are totally different shoes." I go, "What are you talking about? We both have feet. That doesn't make any sense." And he goes, "I get a new pair of shoes every 700 miles, which is every 2 months."
Yeah.
And I went, "Hang on a second." I was like, "Let me just do that math real quick."
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hardcore.
Runners, man. Runners are wild. I do run. I
Oh,
run
yeah?
as well, but like I don't run religiously,
Yeah.
I try to run once a week, maybe twice if I don't. Like right now, I tend to run more in the winter
Yeah.
because our weather is so sporadic here. It's like like today it's like it's 50 degrees. It feels nice except we're having like 30-mile-an-hour winds. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not riding my bike in that. And so I went for a run today. And so I try to run on trails though. Like my knees, it does better for my knees, better for my ankles, better for everything.
So
Um,
when
yeah.
I run, the only time I really ran was in boot camp, and that's because the guy was screaming at me. But
I didn't realize you were in the military.
I was a Navy guy. Um,
Oh.
my brain takes over and goes, "Dude, all you have to do is stop.
Yeah, yeah. All you gotta do is not do what you're doing.
Stop what you're doing, and you won't be so miserable."
Yeah, yeah. All you gotta do is not do what you're doing.
My brain's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's get back to some ceramics. So tell me more about Aramont. You've been there since right after grad school?
Yeah, I moved down here. I got the job right before COVID. They offered me the job right before COVID hit,
Oh, right on.
and then COVID happened, so I had a delayed start. No big deal, but yeah, I moved down here in like summer. It was like into June of 2020, and so yeah, I moved here. I started out as the studio technician for the clay and 2D studios.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working there. I started out doing that. Now I'm in my second position there. I work across I'm the studio manager now, working across all of the studios.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
So yeah, it's a sweet place, man. I really like being there. You know, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, that's like a whole, mess in and of itself. But,
It is, yep.
put that stuff aside and it's a really sweet, it's a pretty sweet gig. And I love being in the mountains.
Yeah.
Um, I do my job. I get to spend my time running around the mountains whenever I want. And yeah, it's really nice. Like I can see like Mount LeConte from um, which is like the big mountain right behind Aramont.
Yep.
Like I can see that from my couch. It's like I can sit on my couch in my house and just
Nice.
look out and see that, and I'm really lucky for that. Yeah, it's cool. I've been here almost, so yeah, it's been almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in June.
Is Aramont is, I mean, so when I went there, I think in 2023 for Pentathlon, that was the first time I met you, and
Yes.
you're great at your job. Like it's like I was new to all that type of ceramic stuff, and I was meeting all these other artists I didn't know, and you just kind of put me right at ease in the studio, and
Yeah, man, it's a good
so
place. I'm trying to
I love
think.
that place.
That was like right, I think, as I was getting ready to transition into the new job. Like they had just told us that they were kind of reorganizing stuff.
Yeah.
and that positions were opening up, and I was like, well, I want to move up. I want to do more here. So
Yeah.
I took the job. I didn't really start, I don't think, until like March or something like that. But
Uh,
anyways, so
I just missed the last Pentaculum. It was last week, wasn't it?
yeah, it was the 5th to the 12th. January 5th to the 12th was the Winter Pentaculum group. It was a good group, except I got sick and missed half of it. So I
No.
got sick on. I woke up sick on Wednesday morning and missed like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it
Yeah.
seemed like a really good group. It was really cool. Like I got to talk to a few people before that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed like it was a good group. It looked like everybody was really like they all showed up like super productive. Like everybody just was like Sunday
Yeah.
night before like orientation. Like people were already working. It was really cool.
You know who I went and
That's something
saw?
that's do what?
You know who I went and saw the other day actually was Austin Riddle. Remember Audie?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where'd you
He's
see him at?
he's working at Syracuse now.
Oh, okay.
So
Is he teaching there?
he's like a studio tech for the whole like art building.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of in charge of the whole building. Like he's rebuilding kilns and doing all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
But he's like, "How'd you know I was here? I didn't tell anybody." I said, "I know everything."
I know everything.
I was going up there to get some glaze because I get glaze from that place called Clayscapes, and I was going to buy 20 pounds worth, and it's an hour and 40 minutes from my house. I'm like, well, I can drive up, have a cup of coffee with Audie, and
Yeah.
walk around the school and save myself $40 in shipping.
Yeah. What do you buy like a dry mix?
Yeah, yeah. And then I tweak them. This yellow was like it was really kind of greenish on my brown body.
Yeah.
So I did a little Zercopax and some Mason stain and kind of I don't know really what I'm doing, but I know how to kind of make a glaze do more what I want. I think
Sure. Yeah.
because I didn't take glaze calc, I went to Alfred for theater. I was the theater major at Alfred, so I got that. And I got. It's funny. I had a yellow that they had years ago called Butter, and I liked it. And I was like, maybe I'll get some more butter. So I bought 2 boxes of what I thought was butter, and then I fired it, and I'm like, well, that's not it. And I
That's not butter.
looked at my order. It was Buttercup.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Close, but not really.
So you did you were at Insika. You did a demo thing a couple of years ago, right? Is that Richmond?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Richmond, yeah, Richmond was last year. Well, I guess I did a demo. I did a demo at Richmond last year too. I demoed with Aeromont at our booth.
Yeah, so did I. It's great.
Yeah, and then in Cincinnati, I did one of the, what do they call that? The
You're a presenter.
presenter, yeah, like the presenter, whatever they call that, clay space,
Yeah.
whatever. Um,
Makerspace.
yeah, Makerspace, that was it. So I did that. That was in 23. That was pretty cool. That
Yeah.
was your first in Sika, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I want to do that. I almost applied to do it at Richmond, but man, it was a lot of paperwork to fill that out.
It's a lot to do, man. It's a lot. And like you got to take all your stuff. You got to like go and drop it off early and like have it staged and
Yeah.
it's a lot. I mean, it's worth it like being in the limelight, like it's cool, like I thought it was pretty rad, but also I'm just like glad that's over. I mean, you got like 1,000 people in this room, and it's
Yeah.
just like Jesus.
I
Like
remember I was there and I watched you kind of took a selfie.
I was blown. Like I was like, oh, there'll be 50, maybe 100 people here, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yours was full.
I like walked in, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh wow. I could not believe that. I was like, oh my god. It's
Yeah.
really funny because it's really funny because the um, we have a new employee at Aeromont. Her job. She only works in the Aeromont gallery in Knoxville,
Uh-huh.
and so she um, I guess, was at that demo. She's not from here initially. Like, she's from, I think, Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
And she moved down here a while back with her partner and yada, yada, yada. And I guess she was at that demo. And so it was just kind of funny because she was, like, I heard this story like secondhand. She was like talking to the girl that I'm dating, went to the Aeromont gallery to buy something for one of her friends or something like that, and they somehow just got talking, and she's like, "Wait, she's like, I was at his demo like a couple of years ago."
Yeah.
So then she was like, "Oh, so you know about the hot dog thing?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Of course, of course." So
What was the hot dog thing again? You got to tell us the hot dog.
that was like, you remember when, like, the guy, the videographer that was supposed, he said, whenever you want us to zoom in, he said, just hold up what you want to do, what you want us to zoom in on, and we'll find it. Just say zoom. And like the dude he was like looking on his phone or something. He wasn't listening. I said zoom. And I'm like, zoom, zoom, and he wasn't zooming in.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, and finally, like, I was like looking for the camera.
Yeah.
And so finally the dude starts listening and paying attention. And like, I hold it like right in front of myself. And he zooms in, and it looks like I'm just holding it up to him. It's like, dude, like literally, there's like 800 people in this room.
Yeah, you're like, not right now.
You bastard. It was just like, you couldn't have timed it better if you had like written that out as like a SNL skit. It was just kind of funny.
I was watching Andrea O'Connell, speaking of freaking superstars. Have you seen her? Oh my God. I was watching her last year, and I was sitting in the front there, and a friend of mine that I know from up here came over, and she said, "You really should be doing a demo. You got to do a demo." I was like, "Oh, okay, that'd be so fun." And then I started looking it up. Like you said, I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a whole lot to do.
The hard part for me was it's due in May. And I'm busy. I'm kind of balls to the wall.
Yeah, it's like you'd have to write it, and you need to write it, and you need to be writing it now for 2026. Yeah,
Speaking of which,
that's how I did it. That's how I did it. It was like,
I'm making pots now. I got invited 2 days ago. You know Wes Brown?
yeah.
Wes is going to be on the show here in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Makes these
Cool.
nice
I like
big
Wes.
black teapots.
Yeah.
Right? I got one of his mugs on my thing upstairs. He invited me to be in the Flower City Pottery Invitational up here in Rochester.
Nice.
So I'm stoked about that. He's like, "Yeah, man."
Where's he at right now? Where's he teaching?
Penn State.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Teaches at Penn State. So I'm really excited to be a part of that because there's been some Matt Metz. Matt Metz is the one who started it.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm really excited. And he's like, "Yeah, I've been wanting to try to get you in here and had a chance to ask you last year." But he said most people bring 50 to 70 pots. I was like, "Oh,
That's a lot, man.
that's a lot of pots."
That's a lot of pots.
But for me, the show's in October. I have to have all those pots done and put aside and priced by April.
Right. Yeah.
So now,
That's harsh.
now, and they got to be good pots,
Yeah, you can't just take some slop down there.
No.
Like, that's like like they've been doing that sale for so long. Like, it's got like a cult following. Like,
It has a
people-
following.
Like, there's people that's the sale that they'll go to once a year. You'll probably you'll do really well there, I'm sure.
I think so. John Gill was in it a couple years ago. You know John?
I don't know John personally. I know who he is. I'm familiar with his work, but I don't know him. Like, I don't
He's
know.
a great dude. I called him up the other day because I want to get him on the podcast. And I haven't talked to him in 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if you remember me. And he said, "Yeah, the golfer."
Well, all right.
I was like, wow. He's got a really cool, sharp mind and
Yeah.
a fun guy to talk to. I remember when I was in school at Alfred, I worked at a little restaurant across the street. And, he would come in dressed in all crazy colors. And,
Yeah, he's kind of got like that sort of wild aesthetic going on.
yeah, and same thing with his pots.
Yep.
But he would sing "Happy Birthday" to whoever's birthday it was, like in this operatic, like "Happy Birthday," It was just take over the whole restaurant with his aura, But he was in it a couple years ago, and I went over to his table. I went up there to see it. Went to his table, and no joke, I picked up one of his mugs like this, and I went and looked at it, and I went, they were $400.
Jesus.
course, it's John Gill. I mean, it's a
Yeah, it's John Gill.
you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
everyone you can see a John Gill piece from across the room and go, oh, you got.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
But I was
yeah,
like, wow.
yeah.
When do I get there? After I think it's after 50 years of teaching.
Probably so. Yeah.
I got a few more years left.
Does he still teach?
He just retired, and so did his wife Andrea,
Okay.
who she makes amazing stuff. One of her pieces is in the White House, I think.
Probably not for very long.
Yeah, nope. Another podcast.
Yep. Oh.
Talk about that after we push stop.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
did you lose half of your followers in one day?
No, it didn't take much. It didn't take much.
The one episode with Sam, I know
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, I start showing up, things tend to get a little bit less subtle.
Things get hardcore. All right,
That's funny.
so I got all these questions that I wrote down, and like I sent these Brandon Pena. Do you know Brandon? He's going to be on Sunday.
Nice. I know his work. I don't know him personally, but I know his work.
Dude, have you ever seen him skate?
Yeah, dude can skate like crazy.
Yeah. He just moved to Scotland too, so he's not making much pots. But
Oh, what's he doing in Scotland?
I don't know. I think his wife was from Scotland.
Okay.
Slab. So hung on. But he, I sent him the same list, and I tell everyone too. I'm like, we could either go through all these questions, or we can talk about skating for an hour. I don't care. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, that's cool. He seems like a really nice dude.
Yeah. I think pretty much everybody I've met so far in ceramics is pretty cool, which is nice. So, let's see. What clay do you use, and what temp do you fire to?
Mostly, let's see here. Mostly I use earth and red. Well,
Mhm.
that's what I've been using. I still have some. That's what that's made out of. Except
You-
high water is not making clay anymore, so I don't know what clay I use.
was
But
gonna
up
say,
until
where you
now,
get it.
I've been using earth and red and fire into like O4, O2, generally O4. I changed my glaze a while back, and it's pretty much strictly an O4 glaze.
Okay.
I
Yep.
pretty much fire everything to O4 now. I used to change it. I would kind of like sometimes I fire to like O4, sometimes I do like O2. Sometimes,
So you're a low fire guy.
yeah,
Final temp. Gotcha. Okay.
yep. Yeah, I got out of the high fire game. I used to do, I did a lot of wood fire. I did a lot of soda and
Yep.
salt stuff. I did the atmospheric thing for a long time, and so, but once I started drawing on my pots and doing all that, like,
Yeah.
just like the nice thing about earth, those lower temperatures is like those underglazes it looks just like paint, and so like it really makes sense for my brain.
Yep.
And it's like I can just sort of, make it happen. I'm probably better at painting with underglaze than I am with paint now. I can just see it better for some reason. But
Market.
but yeah, so everything I do is pretty much low fire unless I'm doing some like experimental stuff where I just like, oh, I just want to make some pots and like put some glaze on. Every once in a while I'm just like, I want to put a pretty glaze on this and not think about it real hard.
Yep.
Um,
Kind of what I'm doing right now. Do you see my F this mugs?
yeah, those are rad. I love those.
I've been selling them down at the local little diner or the cafe down here, and somebody bought 2 of them the other day. They're like, "These
That's
are the best."
awesome. That's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Somebody said, "Well, how much are they?" I said, "Well, here they're $50. Online they're 65." Like, it's so tough.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Mark and I were talking yesterday about how I think more and more people, potters, are leaning towards like a Cone 6 electric.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Somebody
know,
there.
like nobody's got like, well, not many people at least have a high fire kiln at home.
No,
You know what I mean? Like, nobody has that. Like, who has that?
and
Yeah.
they're $40,000.
Yeah, exactly. So, unless you're somebody that, I don't know, I just don't understand. It's like if I'm gonna do high fire, I would rather just like wood fire it.
Yeah,
Just rather like if I'm gonna go to that temperature and like spend the energy to do it, I would just rather wood fire things and have it look cool. I
yeah.
never really got into like high temperature glaze stuff very much. Like I know there's some people that make some really nice like porcelain and celadons, and they look really, really good. And supposedly you can't get that out of Cone 6. I think it's doable. I think people are doing it. It's where it's almost to a point where it's almost indistinguishable, and it's just like, why go to the I'm mid-range? Just do mid-range.
Yeah, they're formulating glazes now. My buddy, and he's a Cone 10 guy forever, and he's redoing all his glazes because he's like, I could get almost the exact same result.
Yeah, I think if you look at the exact same Cone 10 glaze for 30 years,
yep,
and then you try an adapted version,
yep,
at Cone 6, yeah, you're probably going to see the difference. Is somebody who hasn't stared at that glaze that same amount of time going to notice?
Yeah.
No. And so, I don't know. I kind of to me, it just makes more sense from like an energy efficiency thing.
Yep. Well, and ease of use. I mean, I got a Scut barrel kiln a couple of years ago. This episode is sponsored by Scut Kilns, by the way. Just saying. Scut Kilns, Speedball underglazes, and Laguna Clay. They heard that and they can send me some stuff.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that's nice, yeah.
No, I gotta send them a thing. Say, hey, you guys want to sponsor it? But I've got to get more than 3 episodes in.
Right, yeah. We want to see some longevity first. Yeah.
This is sponsored by me. But the ease of use is like with the digital boxes on them now.
Oh yeah. It's so nice. Like, whenever I first started in clay, like I pretty much immediately got into wood firing.
Yep.
Like pretty much immediately, and I was into that. Like, I was ate up with it.
And wood firing is great.
And I still love it. Like, if anybody ever calls me like, hey, you want to come do a reduction cool wood fire with us? I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, I want to come, because I love it, and I don't get to do it anymore. But I was really into that for so long, and then whenever I started making, like, I kind of went from that to doing low fire, and it's like, I load the kiln, I program this little box, I hit the button, and I just walk away.
And I go take a nap.
That's all I gotta do.
Yeah.
And then I come back in a day or two, and everything's ready. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. And I was just like, oh God, like, this is so easy. It's so easy. I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, this is it for a while.
This is it for a long time.
Yeah, it's so convenient. It's so easy. Those kilns do, as long as you're doing maintenance and keeping up on your kilns, it's pretty much tried and true. And so, knock on wood, I haven't had too many. I've had some glaze stuff that like it was my fault. Like I've formulated the glaze wrong. But like once I work out the problems, it seems like that's a pretty reliable process. So why mess with it?
Yeah. Well, when I was down in Aramont there teaching that workshop, I had all those pieces in like 4 days to get them done.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, I forgot. I could just load them up and leave the lid open and put it on 200 degrees for 10 hours.
Yep.
And go home and take a nap.
It's like I can let this thing just do itself.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet. What was I going to tell you? There's something I was going to mention. That's why I'm always writing stuff down. I forgot to write it down. So you applied to? Have you any other shows you're applying to, and tell me about this class you're teaching.
I'm not really applying to many shows right now. I've kind of shifted. Participating in shows as much just because like I don't need to. Like I don't need my work I don't need to sell my work. Selling your work through shows isn't a good way to sell your work anyways because you're just losing money.
Yeah.
But so I don't really do shows that much because they just cost money. And I was kind of in that mindset for a while, just like with grad school and everything. It was like do as many shows as you can be in, and it's like cool. That was fun for a while, but like I don't need to. Nobody's looking at my CV. Nobody cares about that. And I like teaching better, and I would rather spend energy doing that, I think, than I would trying to like get all my work photographed and get the photos edited and get send them to shows and send my work all over the country. It's like I'll pick some bigger shows every once in a while that I like that I want to be in or whatever. But man, like I've only been in a few shows a year for the past couple of years. That's just not where I'm focused. I feel bad this year. I don't have anything. I really like that last call show that
Yeah,
The companion does.
that's a great one.
I kind of spaced on it this year, but I wish I would have had a couple of flasks or something because I like that show. I really
Yeah.
like Parent Scout.
I feel like I need to write those couple down. There's
Yeah.
strictly functional,
Yep.
that one, and I mean, I want to apply to the Ceramics Monthly Emerging Artist one before I get too old.
Right. Right.
You know?
So, yeah, so that's really, I don't tend to apply to tons of shows anymore just because, like, I don't need to. I don't have that, like, pressure that, like, academia does for, like, being in shows and doing all that sort of stuff. Nobody's asking me for that, and I don't need to do it, so I don't care
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, that's
But
cool.
I do spend a lot more time teaching. Like, I taught, oh my God, I think I have a class I'm teaching right now at Knoxville Art Center, which it's like the city-based art center in
Yeah.
Knoxville. It's about 45 minutes away from here.
Okay.
I'm teaching it's like a handles workshop. It's just handles. Like that's
Oh, wow.
like it's a design-focused class, and we started out with like handles for like mugs, and then we're kind of building up into some bigger forms and like different ways of making handles, like different methods, like pinching handles, pulling handles, slab handles,
Yeah.
extruded handles, like all sorts of different ways of making handles. So, and like focusing on that and like how to integrate that um, into the design of the pots that you're making or sculptures or whatever it is that you're making.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the class is that I'm teaching right now. And then I've got two classes coming up in spring that I'm teaching at Aramont. One of them's just like a mug making class. It's nothing too
Yeah.
wild. It's just like a
That's
like a
fun.
1 day. Yeah, it's just like a 1 day class or like a one evening class, and
Yeah.
then I'm teaching a slingshot class. I'm really excited about it.
It's like slingshot?
Yeah, slingshot.
Oh, like making slingshots.
Yeah. I don't. Give me a
With
second.
surgical tubing and stuff?
Can we pause for a second? I can run and grab one.
Just go grab it.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Keep making stuff. Sam will be right back after a message from our sponsors. Oh, wait. Not any sponsors yet. Anyway. Sam's great, isn't he? How much time? We got 20 minutes left. Sweet. We got lots of time. I'm going to put a lid on this jar here. I'm going to finish off this bowl. I'm going to make it a little higher and then spread it out a little bit. So,
Boom. All right, I'm back.
here he is.
So yeah, so I make.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
this is made out of
Bicycle
skateboard
tube.
deck.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And a bicycle tube.
It's a slingshot band. There's like a little company over in Western North Carolina that like it's a slingshot company and they make like bands so you can buy sets already made.
Well, no kidding.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild thing, man. But yeah, they
At a
these are, like-
skateboard is great.
yeah, well, and they're like super strong. I tried making them out of hardwood first, and they would break easier. Actually, these don't because it's like
Really?
compressed. So I'm teaching a class on how to make slingshots, and I'm really stoked on it. This is like something. This was one of my weird like COVID obsessions.
Nice.
Like whenever everybody was like avoiding each other, and I was at work, like I had access to the wood shop, and so like I'd stay after work.
Yeah.
I'd like clock out and go over to the wood shop and piddle around, and
That's great.
started making slingshots out of like random things, and I just kind of like continued to refine it for a little while, and it's actually really, really fun.
Are they pretty accurate?
Do what?
Are they pretty accurate?
You'd be surprised. Like
Yeah.
as long as you can be consistent with how you like hold and like pull it back and like shoot it. Yeah, it's actually pretty accurate. It's been a while since I've sat down and like actually done some shooting, but
Yep.
I got where I could hit like a little 12-ounce can from probably like, I don't know, 20, 25 yards away.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's fun, man. And it was just like one of those things, I kind of just got into it. I got a little nerdy on it, and then I just sort of stuck with it. And I was like, this is something else I could teach. Like, it's really quick. It doesn't take that long. Like, it's really nice. So I'm teaching a class on how to make slingshots.
Everybody needs a slingshot.
Exactly. And these are like really small. They like fit in your pocket.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I'm a little bit of a deviant, and I was just like, man, simple tool for just like some really easy civil disobedience. Like
Yeah.
you can really shake some stuff up with a fiddly
A
fucking
little bit
slingshot.
of a deviant. That's the line
Ex-
of the year so far.
exactly. It's just like, man, they're so fun, and it's like it reaches back to something in my inner child that I'm just like, man, I want to like go shoot somebody's car window.
So it's so funny you say that because as you're thinking that, I'm like, man, there's a couple of times I wished I had a slingshot.
Yep.
And, yeah, there's a
They're these
reason.
little quiet things, man, and it's like, they're pretty powerful for being such like a tiny little thing
Yeah.
that is completely like homemade and completely. I think I like that they're completely unregulated. Like it's
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? Like it's not. It's a weapon, but it's not a weapon. It's like
Yeah.
a toy,
The
but
toy, yeah.
but also it could be a weapon. Like
Toy that could kill you. Do you shoot those
you
little
could
metal balls?
definitely like hurt someone with it,
Hell yeah. You
and
shoot those
so
balls you shoot?
it's kind of fun. I kind of like it.
Do you have the little metal balls you shoot?
Yeah, I got like little I got little ball bearings. I also have like little clay balls that you can shoot with it too that are like they like disintegrate like if you go out in the yard and shoot them. That way
Yep.
you're not like leaving little metal ball
Balls
bearings
all over
laying
the
around.
place.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm teaching this design class. I've got a couple of classes coming up at Aramont that I'll be teaching over the next couple of months.
Sweet.
What else? That's all I have on the books right now. I've got, well, actually, I take that back. Your friend,
I was gonna say, did anybody reach out to you?
yes, Sephora,
Sephora. Yep.
yes. I talked to her yesterday,
Nice.
so I think we got something on the books for May.
Oh, very good. Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, I want to try it. I want to try that and see how the online teaching thing works.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got it on the books. So
It's great. She seems really nice. Easygoing, and she splits it with you.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing it's like a blessing and a curse. I think
Yeah.
it's like you're taking a cut, but what that does is that puts both people's interests aligned because she wants to promote it so it does well. I want to promote it so it does well because I'm looking out for my interest. She's looking out for her interest. It's like the class going well is mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So to me, that works.
I think, oddly enough, I think kind of the future of teaching ceramics is online. Almost
I
every.
definitely think there's a component that can move that way.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll ever, I don't think we're ever going to replace the in-person experience.
No, but I think in person is going to be a little bit more of a specialty now,
I think you're right. I think
right?
you're right.
I just got a little thing the other day. I did that one for Tommy Frank. I sent him your info also.
Awesome.
It's funny. I tell you, I went up to Bill Griffith's house while I was down there, and I was talking to Bill, and I was telling him, "Oh, hey, I'm doing a workshop online for Tommy Frank," and he says, "Oh yeah, he painted my house."
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that. That's why Bill knows everybody, man.
He really does.
It's interesting because it's like Bill's this sort of like this sort of like omnipresent like clay figure,
Yep.
and like I used
He
to
lives in the middle of nowhere.
he lives in the middle of nowhere, and I used to swim a lot. Like after work, I would go swim at the there's like a community center kind of a thing, and like I'd go to the pool and like I'd run into Bill at the pool. Like, hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of interesting. Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's like I, never thought I'd just like bump into, neighbor Bill. It's just kind of funny.
Mark and I were talking yesterday about Bill's collection. Have you seen his collection?
Jeez.
Well, he's given it to Aramont,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That project is actually going on. I just talked to Rainey Rawls, the woodworker who's building the cabinetry for for like all the displays and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Between the studios there.
Yeah, so that's like she's working on it currently. She's not working on it on campus yet, but she's working on like what she can do at home, or at her woodworking place.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's supposed to start being installed. I think in like a couple of months, like 2 or 3 months.
Very cool.
April, maybe. So yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Speaking of handles, I was going to show you this little lug. Like I made a lot of times I make hand built jars while I'm sitting here messing with people.
Sure.
So I made this one in one episode, and I just, speaking of, I just slapped together it's just a square,
Yeah.
and it fits the piece.
Yeah. Looks
And
good.
I had pinched out a handle and put it on. I was like, nope, that's not it.
Not it.
It's not
Yep.
it.
I liked, whenever I first found your work, I found your work through Mark Errol and like Plow because like he was posting like you had work. I think you had. I don't know if you had just started showing work with him or what. I don't know, but I remember him posting your work, and that's how I found you. And you were making at one point in time, you were making these bowls or these kind of like trays, these sort of like you know
Yeah.
arched trays that had these kind of big lug handles on
Oh
them
yeah. Yep.
that were like kind of like bright orange handles, I think, or something. They were really wild. I really
Yep.
liked those.
Thanks. Yeah. He's got one of those, I think. Or no, he sold it. That was like an ice cream tray.
Maybe, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Ice cream bowl. Yeah, those were fun. Shit, I gotta remember how to make those. It's crazy how your stuff, like we were talking earlier about how your stuff swings, the pendulum swings,
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't want to get too far away from Terra Sigillata because that's kind of what everyone knows me for. But, right now I'm just.
Also, you don't want to feel pigeonholed either.
No, I'm feeling some glazes. So I'm kind of like.
Exactly.
I'm kind of taking some glaze and, like, Terra Sig together. I made these plates the other day. Just kind of. So I made the plates. I wasn't a big fan of them. So every time I get something that I'm not a big fan of, I just use it as a test tile.
Experiment and test.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is a fun plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really digging this white glaze, and I
That
keep
glaze
messing
is
around
nice.
with the brown on it, and just messing around, seeing what comes with it. But I was talking to, I was thinking this morning, I was sitting there on social media, which you kind of have to embrace if you want to be an artist, or relevant, and because they're talking about this whole TikTok ban, which whatever.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about, they say social media is so bad for the kids, but I was thinking, social media is not that great for artists either, because
I don't think it's good for anybody.
it's not good for anybody. Yeah,
Anybody, man. Like, I used to be really good about not having that stuff. I've always, I've been involved on social media for a long time. I feel like I used to be really good at like putting it away, but it's like I feel like this past year, it's like I just get like sucked into it, and it's like, holy shit, I've been sitting on my phone for 30 minutes.
yeah, I go like this.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? And then any motivation, any thoughts I've had are just gone.
Gone.
Yeah. And so I'm needing to do like a little social media break or something. Like I just gotta get away from it.
What I was thinking about, like, the kids, it teaches them, bad, body positivity or whatever, all that stuff. But I'm thinking,
Yeah.
as a potter or as an artist, you're seeing other potters making cool stuff and being successful, and you're thinking, oh man, he makes great shit. My stuff sucks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's that, but then there's also like the reality of that is probably not as
No, it's not.
wild as what you think it is.
Yeah.
There's also there's just a lot of garbage on there too. Like I get really annoyed whenever I get on there, and it's like somebody will show up in my like discover page or whatever they call it, and
Yeah.
I'll go look at it because it's like they made some video, that got like 30,000 views, so like it shows up, and I'll click on it, and it's like this work is terrible.
Yeah. You and I talked about that the other
It's
day.
just, yeah, and it's like, oh my god, this person has 40,000 followers. What the
Or
hell?
more.
Yeah, and it's like, what is this? I don't know. It's such a perplexing thing. And I remember whenever I started Instagram a long time ago. Like one of my early clay professors was like they were they were getting ready to I had taken like intro to ceramics with one instructor, and like she was also teaching at the university where I was going, and so was her husband, and like I kind of got a little close to them while they were there because like I took several classes with them.
Just
Yeah,
a
I like
lug.
that. That's
Just
nice.
a lug. You know what it is too? Hold on. It's two pieces of extruded pieces stuck together.
That's smart.
I make a lot of my handles off of what I have on the table.
Yeah, just like laying like little chunks laying around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sorry to
nice.
cut you off there.
Very good. But yeah, like these instructors that I'd had, like we kind of become close, but they were like they both gotten a different job and like they were going to be leaving, and they were like, start an Instagram. We want to follow along with you, like post what you're working on, and like we want to like kind of watch you grow. And I'm like, okay, cool. And like that's kind of why I started Instagram
Yeah.
like years and years and years ago. And so that's kind of how I'd always used it. And I was, like that was the thought that was in my mind is I would just post about like what I was working on, and then it's just grown into this whole other like monstrosity. And I'm just like, man, I kind of hate this now. And it's like I got tons of stuff, and I just don't post it. Like I just like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna post pictures of this. Like I got videos that I took probably a month or two ago of like some pieces that I finished from the last class that I taught, the last underglaze painting class that I taught. I just never posted it because I'm like, man, I don't want to get on there. Like I don't want to, like.
How evil is that, though? So it's kind of like a necessary evil, right?
Yeah.
To get yourself out there, to get galleries and other artists seeing you, or
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a love-hate thing.
Yeah. It's like you need it, but at the same time, you know you don't want to need it.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was just thinking. It brings up this conversation of the line between craft and art.
Right.
You know, you're talking about some of those people that have 100,000 or 60,000 followers, and it's some of it's like you said, it's not that good,
Yeah.
but they're I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah. And there's some people out there that it is good. Like there's some people out there that have a ton of followers that are making great work.
Oh yeah,
You know, like
You're
that
right.
happens too.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like that's not as regularly though.
yeah,
And I don't know. The other thing I would always like to know too is like, I see like potters out there with like, a ton of followers. It's like, does that translate to more sales? Like, are they selling more pots?
yeah. Does it though? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't have like data to answer that question. And so I just kind of, I just wonder because it's like, if you're spending all your time making videos and stuff like that, it's like, you're probably making money off the algorithm and videos and like the Instagram game thing.
Yeah. I
Not
saw one of those
off the
people
pot.
there that had a really interesting video, and they have these apps like on Instagram where you can create this reel, but it requires you to take 6 different videos at 6 different drying times in the pot, right? And then you
Display is not conducive to any of that shit.
no, I'm like, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah. No, it's insane. It's like, you know how long it takes to make a 20-second video?
Yeah, when you're
It takes,
covered with
it, takes
clay.
it takes me 2 weeks because that's how long it takes me to make a pot. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I got to remember to film this part of it. And like, I've got bad lighting in like everywhere. Like my garage has like 2 lights in it, and there's like 1 plug, so I can't run unless I'm gonna run like cords everywhere. It's really stupid. And so like all my videos look really dingy and gross. But I'm like, you know what? At least it's real. At least it's real.
Yeah. So we gotta find a place for people like us that don't want to do all that other BS, but we like making good pots.
Yeah. Well, it's like I just miss back back in the day. Here I am being an old curmudgeon. Like back whenever back in like 2014, 2015, it's like it was just like everybody that showed up on my feed were people that I followed.
Yeah.
And it was people that like I knew somehow through the field or had met them individually or would meet them in Ensika or whatever. And now it's just like half of the stuff that pops up on my main page is like advertisements and people that I've never, like somebody that's paid for some partnership. And it's like, you're just selling me stuff. Like, oh my God, just quit.
Yeah. I've spent time before going through those and like
Filter it out. But it's
like not interested and irrelevant, and it all just comes back.
I was gonna say I don't think it matters.
No,
it's
it's
like
kinda
when you click unsubscribe or not unsubscribe.
Yes, does
you go to
unsubscribe.
a website and you're like, no, I don't want to receive emails about news and offers.
Yeah.
You get them anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
was this just a tease?
It is funny, I
I
just-
just box in here to fuck with me.
I just Googled it the other day. Does unsubscribing work? I don't think it does. I think it makes it worse. I think if you go in and hit unsubscribe, they're like, sweet, we're going to bombard this guy.
Yeah, we're gonna bombard this guy. We're gonna get some sales now because now
It's
he's
like-
engaged with us.
It's like exactly. It's like if you answer a phone call from a spam number, they got your number.
Now they've got you. Yeah, exactly.
I gotta let the cat out. Hold on. Hey, Fatty. Come on, man. Where do you go? Come on, big boy. No. Got 2 cats, 2 dogs. We got 1 cat that's like 18 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, like when he walks, his belly like sways back and forth.
Flops back and forth. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. So, not any many shows. Oh, you got any collection with you, or are you in your other room?
That's in my other room. I have a pretty decent little collection of stuff. Yeah, it's like out in my living room. It's like on display.
Yeah. What do you tend to buy mostly? Do you buy stuff from other potters or trade?
A mix of both. I do like to buy stuff, because I like to buy things through, like when people come teach at Aramont, I love to buy from the instructors that come through.
Except me, because I didn't bring any friggin' pots.
Well, that is on you.
Dude, who does
You
that?
probably could have made more on pots than what you did on teaching.
Who does that?
It happens.
This guy.
It happens. That's okay.
Keep going. I'm gonna go cut a piece. Yeah.
But yeah, I like buying stuff whenever people come through, because that, for one, that supports them a little bit more, and I like buying face to face. I don't think I've ever bought a pot online. Like I've never bought something, a handmade object online and had it shipped.
Right on.
That just seems kind of counterintuitive.
I was just showing my wife and her friend are upstairs. I was just showing them. I got that little head from Tom Bartel while I was there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really cool. I really like Tom.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get him on the show. He's a very chill dude. I like him a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I got the collection going on. My collection has gotten a lot better since I moved to Aramont.
I bet.
So.
Well, think about how old are you now? You're 40. What?
I am 39. I'm not
39.
Yeah, I've got a few more months left of my 30s. Let me have them in peace.
Oh, nice. When's your birthday? Happy.
My birthday's in June.
Oh, right on. Happy birthday.
So 39. I'll be 40 this year.
I was just telling a guy this. I went skiing with a buddy of mine this morning. I was talking to a guy on the lift, and I said, it's really crazy when you tell a story, and in your head you're thinking, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I just turned 54. Ugh.
Getting old, man. Getting old. You look good for 54. You look good.
Thanks, man. Trying to keep busy. I can't sit still.
And you don't drink or anything, do you?
No, 22 years sober now.
Good. Yeah. I mean, that helps. Not drinking and being outdoors.
Did you see what they just announced a couple of weeks ago? They're saying now that drinking alcohol causes cancer. They want to put warning labels on alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to put warning labels on the air we breathe at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, alcohol is not good for you.
I saw something the other day talking about the microplastics that are in the air right now. It's just everywhere right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much, dude. It's like we've just made such a mess of everything in our world.
I want to apologize to my daughter.
Yeah, right. I know. Every time I hang out with my niece and nephew, I'm just like,
I saw this comedian.
I didn't do it, guys. It wasn't me. I promise.
This comedian I was talking about it. He's like, we've had it the best. Our generation has had it the best. We were, back in the day before there was an internet, and then we got everything given to us, and we've just ruined it.
Yeah. Yep.
And then here you go.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. Enjoy what's left.
Yeah, take care. Enjoy your N95 masks.
Right.
Every day. Ugh, Jesus.
I miss COVID, though. I'm not going to lie.
My wife says the same thing.
I don't miss people having the threat of death looming over them.
Yeah.
But I miss not having to go be around people. It was acceptable to go to work and go home and avoid everything.
Yeah.
And God, it was great.
Wasn't that great?
It was it was so good. I know there's a lot of people that probably are like really frustrated at me saying that right now, but man, it was good.
Yes.
I spent, like I had just moved down here. I spent all my time in the mountains, just running around, hiking and riding my bike and doing all sorts of fun stuff. And like, I just had all the time in the world to explore. I was only working Monday to Friday because Airmont was closed.
Yep.
And it's like, that's all. I went from being in grad school where you're just busy nonstop all day, every day, to all I had to do was work 40 hours a week and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. Like, this is absolutely amazing. I have all the time to go explore. It was just amazing. And I want that time back.
Well, you never know. We might be getting it sooner than we think, unfortunately.
You just never know, man. You just never
Never
know.
know.
Like, just a week. Just like a week of shutdown. Like, let's just do a week of shutdown.
A week a month.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's a concept. I feel like
Right?
that would go really well in Europe. I don't think we would ever do that here, but I think Europe would. Seems like something like one of those really progressive European countries.
I started watching the other day. So I watched a documentary on this DJ kid who passed away, and he was talking. He was from Finland or Sweden or something like that, and he was like, he looked at a review of himself online, and it was like, oh, he's made his money and he's decided to retire after making whatever, and he says, what an American way to look at that.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. It's like, he made your money, he's done. It's like, I mean, that's the American dream, though, isn't it? It's like,
Yes.
work a little bit and retire.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy being broke. I'd rather be broke and happy than rich and unhappy.
That's
right?
true. I'd rather, yeah, being rich and miserable doesn't seem like a good way to go either.
Oh, and there's a lot of miserable rich people out there.
Oh, yeah.
More money, more problems, as they say.
As they say. I'd like to know.
Yeah, I'll test it out.
Yeah, I'd test the theory. I'd be willing to live the next half of my life on the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
And I'll report back. I'll report back.
I'll let you know in 20 years how I like it.
Yeah, it's like I would love to have tons of money. Just like give it to people. I'd be like, here.
You know what's dangerous that I've been doing lately? I got the Lotto app on my phone.
Whoa, yeah, that sounds a little risky.
That is bad news.
That does seem a little risky.
Yeah, you put 30, 40 bucks in there and you're like, oh, Lotto's 300 million. I'll buy $15 worth of tickets. And then you get nothing. You're like, oh, well, I still have 20 bucks in there. I'll buy 20 more dollars worth of tickets.
Right.
And it's just on your phone. So it's like clicky, clicky.
Clicking, yeah, you can burn up some coin real fast that way.
Yeah, like it's not real money.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right, so we're getting down to the end of our time here, Mr. Sam. What are you working on there? Can you show me what you're working on? Thank you. Ooh, big old bomb.
Yeah, it looks really shitty holding it up here.
What's going on?
This one the other day, I did a locust
That is super cool.
bomb. I'm trying to figure out some ideas. I got a couple of pigs that are bone dry out in the garage that need to be painted, and
Yeah.
I kind of want to take those to be a little bit more, what do you want to call it? A little bit more focused and driven towards a statement, I think. I want them to be a little bit more loaded. So, yeah, I'm just trying to kind of come up with some imagery, and so I'm just kind of sketching some stuff on paper first.
I see those images right there on a T-shirt
Yeah.
right away. Or I'm a hat guy. I probably have 100 hats in the closet.
Yeah.
I'd love to have one of those bombs just on a hat. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
I need to figure out something. I'll do something with them. It's just a matter of like, what's it going to be? Because I kind of got out of the habit of like just drawing and sketching, and so I've been trying to do a little bit more of that stuff lately. Just kind of being in the habit of it a little bit, and so that's all I'm doing. It's just like working on that, and maybe something will come of it. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Very cool. So we gotta end our show with one good tip. Did you think of one?
A good tip is
Or one good tip that you got from a teacher or that something that you use in your daily practice or anything?
Make sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
Okay.
And that just means like make sure that you're getting out of an experience or an opportunity or whatever. Whatever you're getting out of it is worth what it's going to cost you. And as I have applied that a little bit more in my life, I don't know. It looks different. It makes your life look different. But like, if an opportunity's not worth it, I'm not going to take it just because
Yeah.
it's some sort of like grand opportunity. Like
Yeah,
it's going to benefit me somehow. Like, is it gonna get me money? Is it going to help pay part of my bills? Is it going to like, is it going to do something for me that I need? And everybody's list of needs are different. So it's like a subjective statement, I feel like. But yeah, I just make sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
I kind of love that. So that's really cool that's actually our first pro tip. I want each guest to come with a tip. And the first one is actually a great saying. I love it. Remember John Gill said to me once, he said, never fall in love with any pot you ever make.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? He said, you just make another one. Well, you know what he said to me once that was pretty interesting? He said, don't make pots for a show, select pots for a show. So,
Yeah.
go get it. Not a dog won't, Mark. Just go get it. Yeah. Just go get it. The dog will be fine. We're almost done. You know what I mean? So then you're like, he says basically just keep making pots.
Right.
And then, if you get into a show, say, I'm going to put this one in, this one in, this one in, this one in, instead of going, I got to make pots for a show.
Right.
Which is kind of what I'm doing right now, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I get it.
But I'm going to make some
In
in
an
it.
ideal world, under ideal circumstances, that's what we would be doing. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a little different whenever you're in a clay studio all day and you teach clay all day. It's a little easier to stay in the habit of working with clay all day.
Yeah.
I would venture to make the statement that, like, for people who aren't doing that all day long, it's a little harder to just be making work all the time that you can just have sitting around.
Yeah, I try to I'm pretty lucky to be able to do it, but I try to just make. I just try to make stuff,
Yeah.
And I was talking to Mark about that yesterday. Like, I don't make it to really sell. I just kind of make it to have around, I guess. And,
Right.
To have and be able to be, okay, I can put this into a show or I can list these online. And
Yeah.
so I just I'm also lucky to be able to do that, but
Right.
I just keep making stuff.
Yeah. No, I definitely like making stuff too, and I've been trying to get a little bit better about just like making for the fun of it, not making because I got to. But man, it's just like so much of the making just for the fun of it kind of got sucked out of it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I gotta make stuff for shows. I gotta make stuff because I gotta apply to things, and like I want to get this opportunity and that opportunity. It's like,
Yeah. How do we get that back?
eventually that sucks the life out of things for you, and it's like this is just another job, but I'm not getting paid for it. It's actually costing me money.
Yeah. But, my buddy Marshall, he says, I don't have a choice to make. He says, I kind of have to make, right?
Yeah.
If I have to, like, you're an artist. You're a drawer. You've been drawing your whole life.
Right.
It's, and I was telling Mark this yesterday, too, I can't find this type of happiness anywhere else.
Right.
That moment when you get lost in an idea.
Right.
There's, like, I've tried different ways to do it, and who knew it was clay?
Who would have thought?
You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can find a way to make this little lid fit. There's my jar for the day. I got to put a little...
There you go. It's a nice looking jar.
Put little lugs on the side. I'm going to see the butt. Want to see my butt? Let's see if it comes out.
Dude, those things are rad.
Dude, they're crazy, right? If I can get it out of there. There it is. So now it's just done.
Nice.
Right? Isn't that crazy? Doink. Jar. And all it is that.
That's rad. I've got like a little one. I have like I made a bisque one. Or well, I haven't bisqued it yet. I've got one.
Yep.
Bone dry that I need to take and I need to bisque it. I made like a platter one.
Dude, they're so fun. Like, I got these ones. Like, I think you were there when I. So what I do with this one is, I'll just build the walls up like 6 inches.
Yeah, use it like a pookie.
Yeah, it's a pook. It is a pookie, really. But I build it up like 6 inches, and then I put it on the wheel with the Giffen grip, and then I hit the side with a big old rib and just fold it down. Did you find it? She's not gonna bite you. All right, I gotta go. Sam, pleasure. I gotta go
See you, man.
save a life.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
It's
Thanks
been
for
awesome,
having me
Sam.
on.
Very cool. Episode number 2 with Sam. Between two viewers, you rock, and I'll shoot you. So stick around until it uploads, right? So you see how it says uploading in the top there?
Yes.
Yeah. So just wait
Wait
after
till that says 100.
Yeah, it's on 99. It like automatically uploads, and you gave us a good tip, and we're good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you.
See you. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, see you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.